Let's go get some hot water. We're going to make some mushrooms. We just went down to old Bunnings and got ourselves a Coir brick. Normally we have like the one that's about a third of the size of this. We couldn't find one, so we're going to do 2 monotubs from this double recipe. I haven't washed my hands or anything, so we're just creating semi-sterile substrate with plenty of water content, and it's going to have a lot of spawn, which that's where it's going to get the nutrients from. Very popular tech this, add more spawn, outruns any problems. There's really no nutrients in the substrate, so it's pretty bulletproof. Put our Coir brick in there, and if you check our Aussie Mushrooms instructions page, there is actually a instructions page for this one. So because we couldn't get enough hot water on tap, like hot enough water, we're just going to use our old faithful Big Roy. Big Roy has hot water on tap, really hot water, so runs off our boilers. Big Roy gets it done. So we just go to clean out because it's been running other stuff. So we can add some steamy hot water. We're hydrating our Coir block. Once the block soaks up all the water, we're going to throw in some vermiculite. We'll keep it covered so it keeps the heat in. We might flip it over a few times, and then once it's all hydrated, add our vermiculite we want to add in, and then let it cool down. Let's go shopping. So as per our instructions, need some vermiculite. As this block was 3 times bigger than our block in our instructions, we need 3 times vermiculite, so it was 4 litres. So we're going to need 12. Got a clean cup, and I'll do 12 of these. It's looking nicely hydrated. We'll keep this dirty one for mixing later. 1, 2. Then with our mixing bucket, we'll give another mix. You can see in the bottom there's still a lot of water. The point of the vermiculite is just to soak up that excess water and give us our perfect moisture content. It's getting a bit colder now, still a bit warm, a little bit colder. So now we've got that nice and mixed up, put the lid back on, I'm going to wash my hands in my dirty mixing bucket, and we're going to let this cool down overnight, and tomorrow we'll add some spawn and put it in our monotubs. So while our substrate's cooling, let's get our monotub made. There's a few different ways to do it. We're going to stick some filters on there. We're going to drill a hole in each side above where the substrate line's going to be, and then stick these on, and this is going to be our airflow for our monotub. If you don't have these sticky back filters, we do sell them on our website, but you can get away with turning the lid ajar a little bit, which will give you some gaps for some airflow, or flipping it upside down. It doesn't seal as well, so other things can get in quite easily and then land on your work and try and outcompete it. This method being a low nutrient method, it is fairly bulletproof, but you still can have things try and jump on and outcompete your mushrooms. The best way to do it, have these filters. These are 0.3 micron filters, so they'll block out any other spores and allow sterile air exchange so your mushrooms can breathe while they're colonizing. You have to remember, mushrooms breathe oxygen like we do and expel CO2, so this is a way to create nice fresh air exchange and keep your mushrooms happy and growing. If your CO2 gets too high, it can stall out your mushroom mycelium growing. I've got my trusty Makita drill bit. It's a 76mm hole saw, which comes in just under where our sticky part is. So the substrate will come up to about here. You generally don't want to go more than 1/3 over the tub. Put the hole saw through here. Also go slowly because plastic can crack, especially cheap plastic. There's one hole. Make sure you get out the old bit of plastic, and we'll do the other side. Try and get about the same height as the other side. And make sure you carefully clean off any bits of plastic and burrs without cutting yourself. So we'll get our sticky back filter disc. Make sure your surface is clean. Try and get it as center as we can. And flat. And then just make sure your sticky bit is stuck down. See how butchered this side. Now that we have our holes in the side, let's give it an isopropyl wash and seal it back up, and then it'll dry overnight and we can add our mushroom fungus and substrate. Let's go that again and go again. All right, so I made sure I got every bit of the box all inside, so we'll let that sit overnight to dry. All right, our material's been hydrating overnight. Our monotub's all dried from being isoproled. Let's get our monotub made. So what I got here is just a standard black plastic bin liner. I generally turn it inside out because inside's probably cleaner from being made, so turn it inside out. Obviously wearing gloves again. When you're touching anything that's going to be in your monotub or material wise, if you're touching anything, gloves, ISO your hands. So what we're going to do is use that inside out bin liner just to line the bottom and go up the sides a little bit. What this black bin liner will do is stop the light from getting to the bottom of your substrate, because light is a trigger for your mushrooms to pin. So generally you'll find having a black layer on the bottom means that your mushrooms are just going to pin on top to go for the light. Got some of our king oyster spawn, as always. Give it an isopro from being in the shipping, if you bought some spawn. It does take a bit of breaking up sometimes. So one of the things to remember with any low-tech growing, there's no too much spawn. The more you use, the better your yield's going to be, because there's not much nutrients in the substrate you're using. It's all coming from the spawn. That's why this is such an easy method to do at home, because you just need to grow the spawn and then you can really easily make up bulk substrate to bulk it out. You can give it a good smell. That can tell you if you've got a problem with your spawn. Every type of mushroom has a distinctive smell. Some smell pretty good, some smell terrible, but you get used to after a while what should smell like what. So generally oyster spawn smells really nice. Things like Pia Pino smells foul, but the mushroom's delicious. So here's our nice and hydrated Coir and Vermiculite mix. Got to remember, it's pretty much a zero nutrient substrate, so all the nutrients are coming from the spawn. So we've got to use a lot of spawn with this method. We've seen people get kilos of mushrooms out of one of these monotubs. Generally, if you're using rye grain spawn, you'll use 2 bags, or with our commercial king oyster spawn, just 1 bag can be enough. But if you do 2 bags, then obviously yield's going to be a lot more. So the more spawn you use, the better. So if nutrients come from the spawn, all your moisture comes from the substrate. I'll get a bit of a layer on the bottom going. This will work with a lot of top fruiting mushroom species, enoki, king oysters. Any clumps, just break them up. So I've got a very thin layer of substrate at the bottom. We do a pretty thick layer of spawn. When you've got it mixed in, then you want to compact it down a bit. So you can get it right into the corners. Getting it nice and compact will make sure there's no air pockets. And then your mushrooms are going to fruit just out the top. Nice good amount of material. Lots of spawn. And if you're using 2 spawn bags, it's going to look like a lot of spawn, but the more nutrients you have, the more mushrooms you're going to get. Then what we'll do is just a thin layer on top of our substrate only. A light pat down. And that's it. On goes your lid, clip it up. Because we've got filters on the side, you can just leave this. One of the most important things to do is incubation temperature. If you can't maintain temperatures under 20 degrees, then wait till another cooler time of the year. It's really important with any low-tech growing. You want nice cool temperatures. Because it's only a very low-tech substrate, you still have bacteria and that sort of stuff left behind, and bacteria wake up when it's nice and warm. Very, very important to have temperatures under 20 degrees so your mushrooms have a competitive edge against any problems that might start growing in your substrate. After 7 to 10 days, generally your substrate's fully colonized. Because you've used so much spawn, it'll be very quick. Once it's fully colonized, then you can put it in the temperatures that your mushroom species like, so 20, 24 degrees, or keep it under 20 degrees for it to fruit. Don't overfill your tub. Generally about 1/4 to 1/3 full is the maximum you want to fill up your container. You want to keep good headspace So you've got plenty of space for the mushrooms to grow, plus oxygen in there for the mushrooms to fruit properly. If your mushrooms are more stem than cap and they're really long and stringy, you may need to add more filters so you have more airflow in your container for your mushrooms to fruit properly. Otherwise, once it is fully colonized and they're fruiting, you can open the lid, turn it slightly, which will give you big air holes, which will increase your airflow, and your mushrooms will be a bit happier. And that's it. Really fun, simple way to grow mushrooms. Some harder species, you may need to use 2 spawn bags rather than 1. Faster species, so you can get away with 1. The more spawn you use, the more weight of mushrooms you can get. Generally a tub this size, people can get 1 or 2 kilos of mushrooms out of them, depending on the species. So here's another monotub we made with Pia Pino without the filter discs for airflow. So once a day we've been coming in and just opening the lid a few times to get some airflow in there. You can see they're a little bit long stemmed because of the lack of oxygen. It's good to have your filter discs for airflow, and you can just set and forget and just come back when you've got all these mushrooms growing. You got to make sure you come in once or twice a day and just give it a bit of an air out. So here we have our king oyster monotub with the air filters. As you can see, mushrooms are fruiting nicely. They are a little bit CO2 affected, so they probably could do with a little more airflow, these ones. You can see you've got a really fat stem and a tiny little head. So what we'll do is we'll turn the lid ajar a little bit just to increase the airflow. As you can see, like, it's only been a couple of weeks, we've got pins. This tub's sitting in a room about 16 degrees because king oysters, they do like it cold. So we incubated this in a room that was 16 degrees, and we're just waiting for them to fruit. So as you can see, we've just left them to it. They're getting enough airflow from their filter disc, but now that it's fruiting, it just needs a little bit more. So we're just gonna turn that so you've got a bit of a gap there. Once you've colonised, you can expose them a bit more to the elements because they're more protected having that mycelium grown over all your materials. So we'll leave that like that. So we also made another tub the same day with a golden enoki. We didn't do any filter holes or anything. Enoki do like a bit higher CO2, and let's see how they're going. So enokis, they're really known for their heavy pin set. And because they like that bit higher CO2, they're going quite well. So more spawn, more fruits. So we've got a nice even pin set. Black plastic here we put on the bottom. This prevents any pins underneath your block. So you get all the pins on top, and it puts more oomph in pushing everything at the top. Monotubs, any top fruiting mushroom, you can grow them this way. Just remember, more spawn means more weight of mushrooms. You can see water on all the walls, so it's nice and humid in there. So one thing with this method, with a semi-sealed container, it does help keep all the moisture in because there's very little airflow. So you open it every other day for a fan out, but generally no filter keeps more moisture in for these other tricky mushrooms. So it's a bit of a balancing act of the right amount of airflow to fruiting. Now that it's started fruiting, we can turn this lid like that to let a little bit more airflow in.
And as you can see here in this video and photos of our Pia Pino monotub, after they started pinning and we took the lid off a little bit, we moved it to somewhere between 22 to 24 degrees, what they like, and look at the flush we got. We also used 2 spawn bags for these.
Thanks for watching. If you like what you see, like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.